Tina.
Hey, Tina. My name is Jabez. So we're out here for the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. We're out here to edify our people on our history. So, Tina, I'm gonna ask you a question. You have time? You have like 2 minutes, 5 minutes. You got time? All right, Tina. So, Tina, our whole life we've been given names: African American, Jamaican, Bahamian, Haitian. So, what does God call us? Have you ever thought about that? What does God call us, Tina? You said God calls us humans? Okay, that's what you thought, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so Tina, okay, that's very good. That's what we thought. We all thought, we're called humans. But what does the Bible say, right? What does God actually say about who his people are? Right? Huh? That's fine. We're going to answer it for you out of the Holy Bible, okay? You believe in God, sis, Tina? Okay, so where do you see yourself on the sign, Tina? Judah, African American black. So that's what you would identify yourself as, African American black. But guess what? We're going to show you out of the Holy Bible, Tina, that God says you're actually from the tribe of Judah. Because you can't find American black in his Bible, but you can find Judah. You can find Ephraim. You can find Levi.
Right.
How you doing, my brother? My name is Jabez. This is Tina. What's your name, bro?
Chris.
Chris? Nice to meet you, Chris. So we're edifying our people out here in the streets of Tampa that the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans are true God-given names. We're the Israelites.
That's right.
We're from the nation of Israel, according to the Bible. You understand? Because we've been given names. I was telling Tina, we've been given names like African American, right, Chris? What would you identify yourself as? Your nationality?
I'm mixed between black and Indian.
Black and Indian. Okay, black and Indian. All right. Where do you see yourself on the sign? Where do you see yourself on the sign? Because Tina, she saw herself as Judah, African American black. We're going to go into a little bit deeper on how we can identify ourselves as these tribes according to the Bible. So where do you see yourself, Chris?
American black and American Indian.
Okay, so you see, American black or American Indian. So either from the tribe of Gad or from the tribe of Judah. So now let's get into specifics on what the Bible actually says, all right? We're going to see what God says who you truly are, all right?
It's the book of Numbers, chapter 1 and verse 18. And they shall assemble all the congregation together on the first day of the second month. And they declared their pedigrees after their families by the house of their fathers.
So the Bible, we're going to the book of Numbers about how Moses and the leaders of the Israelites was saying, hey, we're going to gather our people together, the Israelites, right? And we're going to go by the pedigrees by the house of the fathers. You heard that, right? It said by the house of the fathers. Why didn't it say mothers?
The father was the head of the house, right?
The father is the head of the house, right? But it's telling you that it goes by the seed of the father. So who you are is based on your father's lineage, not by the mother. You understand? Because you understand, let's say, I'll give you an analogy. An apple, right? We can grow an apple in China, right? Would it change because of the land where it's at? No. Right? You understand? Because the father has the seed and all the genetic goes to that, to whatever is being carried, you understand? To the woman from the seed, you understand? So like the woman just carries it.
Right.
You understand? She carries it and holds on to the father's seed. Right. You understand? And you are who your father is according to the Bible.
That's right. So
Chris, I'm gonna ask you, and I'm gonna ask you again, Tina. So what would you say your nationality is now based on that? Because your father, what is your father? American black. So now we're getting to more specifics, you understand? So you're actually from the tribe of Judah.
That's right.
According to the Bible. Y'all believe in the Bible? God says it's according to your fathers. So now, I'm going to ask y'all a few more questions, okay, concerning your nationality. How did our people get here in the Americas? How did we get here? How did we get here, Tina?
By boat.
You said by boat. By boat? What do you think? How did the so-called African Americans get here? We were born here? So the so-called African Americans were originally born here. That's what you think? Okay. So Chris said we actually came here by boat. Does the Bible say that this happened to the so-called African Americans? Does the Bible say that? It don't say that? We're going to prove out of the Bible that actually it does say that. Have you ever been taught that in the church? That we're actually the children of Israel. We're going to go through it. Okay, we're going to go, go to, yes, sir. So out of the Bible, we're going to show you guys that you guys are actually God's chosen people. You are the Israelite from the tribe of Judah.
That's right.
All right, let's prove that.
These be the words which Moses spake unto all Israel.
So Tina and Chris, God says this was Moses speaking to the Israelites, right? Did he say all people? What did he say?
Unto all Israel on this side Jordan in the wilderness.
So who, Tina and Chris, who was Moses speaking to?
The Israelites.
The Israelites. So was he speaking to all nations? No. So we got the subject matter of who this Bible is speaking to right now. You understand? The Israelites. All right. So now let's get what happened to the Israelites. What happened to our people? Why? How did we get here? That was the question, right? How did we get here? How did the African American blacks get here? Let's prove that.
Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 15. But it shall come to pass.
So Moses said, it shall come to pass. So when it says it shall come to pass, Moses is saying this is going to happen to you. This is future prophecy. This is what's going to happen to the children of Israel, right? We identify who the subject matter is, right, Chris and Tina? All right, let's read on.
If you will not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God.
So God says, you so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, the Israelites, if you don't hearken, what does hearken mean? What does hearken mean? I want y'all to interact with me. What does hearken mean? What? Read it.
But it shall come to pass, if you will not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God.
So what does that mean, to hearken to the voice? Obey? Okay, obey. Or in other words, listen,
right.
Hearken, right? Very good. Y'all, some people don't understand that. It's crazy. So y'all in the spirit right now. Read on.
To observe to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses.
All these what?
All these curses.
So prior to all these curses, God said to do what? What did God say to do for the Israelites? What did he say the Israelites to do, Chris?
Oh, my bad. I won't even listen to that.
You gotta listen, bro. We're bringing out hardcore evidence that we're not African American blacks. That's given to us by our slave masters. Let's. I want you to pay attention, Chris. This is important before you go. Tina, listen.
But Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 15. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe to do all his commandments.
So you see that? The Lord said, if you don't observe, meaning you observe, you watch, you read the Bible that he given the instructions, the basic instructions, you understand? If you don't observe or do, he said do, right? Do is a what? What's do? I'm going a little bit slow. I want to see if y'all understand. What does do mean?
Get it done.
Right? Get it done. If you don't do what? What was he said? What was it that you needed to do? We'll read it again.
To observe to do all his commandments.
You heard that? He said observe to do what? Commandments.
Right.
Commandments. So God is establishing order for our people and instructions to the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans who are the Israelites. Hey, you got to keep the commandments. If you don't keep the commandments, something's going to happen. I gave you laws. Aren't our people lawless today? Aren't our people lawless today?
Yeah.
Very lawless. The streets of Tampa, we're very lawless. Look at our community. We got trash everywhere.
Yeah.
This is our community, but we have trash. How come we don't pick it up and make it clean? How come we don't gather our people to make it clean? Because we're lawless. But God says, hey, if you don't observe to do my commandments, this is what's going to happen. What's going to happen?
And my statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses.
All these what?
All these curses.
So, Chris, what are curses? Basically what's going on right now. Let's get more in depth what's basically going on right now. I want to hear what you got.
Just last night, they were just shooting at
They were just shooting at Ybor? What, last night? What were they doing? They were partying, going to the club? What? See that? What? That's lawlessness. But God says, if you don't observe to do my commandments, what's going to happen? We're going to be cursed. We're going to be shooting our own people down in Ybor. You see that? We're going to show you that this is prophesied in the Bible to happen to the Israelites, who are the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. This book is for us, believe it or not. We're proving it right now. Read on.
That all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee. Cursed shall.
See, it says, all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee. You see that? The curses, Moses is saying to you Israelites, the so-called blacks, Hispanics, Native Americans, that if you don't keep the commandments that I gave you, thou shalt not kill, right? Thou shalt not kill, that these curses are going to come upon you.
Right.
So you brought out a great example. sadly, sadly that had to be brought up, but our people in Ybor are killing each other.
Right.
Well, most likely black people, so-called black, right? Yeah, more than likely, because it's a lot of us doing that foolishry right now, right? Because we're lawless. We're lawless. You gotta be honest. But there's a reason why we're lawless. God said, "Keep my commandments," right? Right. Said, "Keep my commandments." And let's see where if what you said is in the Bible. You said Ybor City, right? Let's see.
The book of Hosea, chapter 4 and verse 1. Hear the word of the Lord, ye children of Israel. For the Lord hath a controversy with the inhabitants of the land, because there is no truth, nor mercy, nor knowledge of God in the land.
So there's no truth, no knowledge, no mercy in this land, because our people are lawless. Right. We don't know the knowledge of God or the truth of God, which is the commandments that we just read, right? Because if we understood the knowledge of the truth, the commandments, we would say, hey, I'm not going to go over there and kill my people. Right. I'm not going to go to the club and look at women, big booty dancing. We're not going to do that. Smoke weed, do drugs, because I love myself and I love my brothers. Right. You understand? Right. God says, keep my commandments. He has a controversy. Read on.
Verse 2. By swearing and lying and killing and stealing and committing adultery, they break out and blood toucheth blood.
You see that? Blood touching blood. We murdering our own people. We swearing, we're committing adultery. We can assume that they're probably fighting over a woman. Who knows? Right.
A block.
A block? What do you say?
They're probably off a block. Like everybody was killing each other over
street violence. Blood touching blood. That's what it's going to. Gang violence. That's exactly what you're saying. You're saying what exactly the Bible is saying. Blood touching blood. Gang violence. We have animosity towards each other. Why? Because we stopped keeping God's commandments. We started becoming lawless. God said, keep my commandments. So now let's go back. Let's go to Deuteronomy 28 verse 16. What the curse is.
Deuteronomy chapter 28 verse 16. Cursed shalt thou be in the city.
Bible says the Israelites are going to be cursed in the city. That's going to be a sign to our people. Cursed shall thou be in the city. Right. Smoking weed, right. That's a curse. Murdering each other in the streets, that's a curse, right? Ybor City, we just read out of it. Cursed shall thou be in the city. We'll be killing each other in the streets. Gang violence in the streets. Right. Cursed shall thou be in the city. You see that? This is talking about the Israelites. Right. This predominantly happens to the so-called blacks, Hispanics. You understand? Cursed shall thou be in the city. You starting to understand, Chris, that remember this is talking about the Israelites. Right. Are you starting to see yourself in the people fitting this? Does that fit the so-called white man? Are they doing gang violence against each other like we're doing?
Right, bring it out.
Is their city cursed? Because this is our city, right? But if we go into a white neighborhood, what is it going to look like?
Right. Bring it out.
Clean. It's going to look clean. We're just talking about this trash in our own community. Bro, if we go in their community, it's going to be dirty. I mean, if we go in their community, it's going to be clean. You understand? Curse should not be in the city. This Bible's a true book. So now let's get a curse. You said how we got here, right? How did we get here? First, let me show you that this would be for a sign. Let's go to verse 46.
Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 46. And they shall be upon thee for a sign.
So that day is talking about, they shall be upon thee, Chris. They is talking about the curses. Right. We just read that in 15, right? The curses will be upon thee for a what?
For a sign.
So now, Chris, what is a sign?
Stop sign.
Like a stop sign. What does a stop sign do? It tells you to stop. Right. So God says what? These curses are going to be a sign for what? To identify who the Israelites are today.
That's right.
You understand? These curses, I'm going to put specific curses on our people to identify who you are today. You see this? You see this sign right here? This is a sign that God said this was going to happen to our people. We're going to go into slavery. Right. You see that? We're going to go into slavery. We're going to lose our heritage, lose who we are as a people. Who are we? Because we think we're African and American black. Right. We think we're that. But let's see what else God says. Keep reading.
And they shall be upon thee for a sign and for a wonder.
And for a wonder. So, Chris, have you ever wondered why our people suffer the most?
Bring it out.
Because ignorance is bliss. Okay. What else? What else? Why? What else do you wonder?
Black people don't like to listen.
Black people don't like to listen. We're gonna. Yes, God describes our people as stiff-necked people.
That's right.
Want to get that, Chris? Yeah, don't worry about it. But God says that we're stiff-necked people. We'll read that in Isaiah 1 and 3. We'll read that. But God says we're stiff-necked. But go back to the curses. Go back to Deuteronomy.
Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 46. And they shall be upon thee for a sign and for a wonder, and upon thy seed forever.
So throughout our generation, because our seed, we're still generating, right? It says throughout forever, right? So that means the Israelites are here today. Since throughout their generation, the Israelites are still generating. So when people say that, nah, this is old, this is old, this is old, this is old time. You heard that before? This is biblical time. We're still in biblical time. Did Christ come back yet? We're still in biblical time. So the Israelites are still here today, Chris, and you are an Israelite. So we're showing you that the curses identify who we are. You're gonna find out you're not African American black. You're from the tribe of Judah.
Right.
So now these signs are gonna show you. We're gonna prove that. Go to verse 68. I'm gonna need you, Chris. I'm gonna need you to have your undivided attention with this right here. You said we got here by what? By boat. And you said, nah, the Bible don't say that. Let's see. Let's see if the Bible says that. Let's see if the Bible says that the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans got here by boat. Let's see.
Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 68. And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships.
You see that? The Bible says the Lord is going to send us into Egypt, or Israelites, into Egypt, because you know in history, in the Bible, when the Israelites were what? We were under the Egyptians, right? We were serving them. You read about Moses freeing the Israelites? Have y'all read about, what's your name, brother? What's that? Marquivas, this is Chris. Chris, deal with me. We're about to get to the meat of this. I know you got stuff going on, but just I don't need your undivided attention, bro. Marquivas, Chris, Marquivas, y'all brothers, man. We trying to make sure we show love towards one another, because we hate each other, bro. Right. We don't show that love like we should. All right, Marquivas, we just going over how the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, we're the Israelites according to the Bible, and we're proving out of the Bible that the Bible says what Chris said, that the African Americans so-called came here by boat. You heard about that, right? We came here by boat. Does the Bible say that?
Bring it out.
It don't say that? We're about to read it. Let's see, because it's talking about the Israelites. Let's see if it fits us.
Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 68. And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships.
So the Lord said he's going to bring the children of Israel into Egypt again with ships. So now let's see what the Bible says what Egypt means, okay? Because it sounds weird. How's he going to bring us to Egypt again with ships? What is it really talking about? Do you know what Egypt means? Do y'all know what Egypt means? You know it's a continent. Okay, what do you think, Marquise? What does Egypt mean? You believe the same thing, continent, right? Let's see what else the Bible calls it, okay? We're going to prove what else the Bible calls it. Go ahead.
The book of Exodus, chapter 20 and verse 2. I am the Lord thy God, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage.
You see that? What did the Bible say Egypt means? If y'all paying attention. You said what? Yo, we're listening to people explaining that scripture about the house of bondage, that Egypt was a landmass, and also meaning the house of bondage or slavery. They couldn't get it. It was crazy. It says it right there that Egypt also means the house of bondage, not just a land continent, but slavery. So the Spirit is dealing with you. The Lord is dealing with you right now, Chris. So I want you to stick around. Do you agree? You agree? What that Egypt also means? What? House of bondage. You in the Spirit.
That's right.
Let's go through it. We're gonna go through that. The Israelites, so-called blacks, Hispanics, Native Americans, we're the true Jews. We're the true. Go to Isaiah chapter 2, verse 2. 22 verse 17. So we're proving that the Bible actually says that the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, the Israelites went to the Americas via boat, right? We're proving that.
Isaiah chapter 22 and verse 18. He will surely violently turn and toss thee like a ball into a large. Verse 17. Behold, the Lord will carry thee away with a mighty captivity, and will surely cover thee. He will surely violently toss and turn thee like a ball into a large country. There shalt thou die, and there the chariots of thy glory shall be the shame of thy Lord's house.
So the Lord's going into how he's going to carry us. It said by like a ball, like we're going to go into great captivity.
Right.
Captivity. Like as if, read that again, because I want y'all to grasp what it says, all right? Y'all paying attention, right? I want y'all to grasp this.
Isaiah chapter 22 and verse 18. He will surely violently turn and toss thee like a ball into a large country.
See that? He said he will violently turn us and toss us like a ball into another country. How does that happen? How does that happen? How do you get tossed and turned violently going into another country? Rapid waters. But what makes you go through that? What are you in? What harbors you to go in such a violent movement? In a boat. That's prophesied in the Bible that this would happen to the Israelites, which are the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. You see that? You see these images? These are real images of us going on boats or slave ships. Slave ships, right? Slave ships. This happened to the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, the African Americans.
Right.
But the Bible says the Israelites.
Right.
The Bible says the Israelites. This is in the Bible. This is in the Bible that we'll be tossed and turned violently. And you look at these images, we were compact together so close. We didn't have no space. We had no clothes. And who did that to us? The so-called white man. They did that to us. Because what? Why did this happen? Because we didn't keep the commandments. Marquivas, we didn't keep the commandments, and that's why we've been in such a harsh condition going through slavery. We were on boats. Our women, think about it. Our women, what do our women do when they every month? What do they do at like almost every month? Go through a menstrual cycle. You see that? They had their periods, right? But look how close they were together. Close together, the women on top of women, the men on top of the women, all that blood going everywhere, diseases, vomiting, wounds, you're getting flesh-eating viruses because of it. They didn't care about us. This happened to our people because we didn't keep the commandments. That's right. And the Bible prophesies that would happen to us, Chris, Marquise. This is in the Bible. Did the churches ever teach you that?
Bring it out.
The churches don't teach us that because guess what? If we find out that we're God's chosen people, guess what? We will come back to our right minds. We would love each other. We wouldn't be shooting each other at Ybor. We wouldn't even be there clubbing, looking at women, smoking weed, doing drugs. We'll be at home taking care of our children, letting them know that we are God's chosen people. We're the greatest people on the planet. That's right. You understand? Y'all gonna find out today that you're the children of Israel from the tribe of Judah. Look at yourself on that sign, Marquise. So let's go back. Let's go back to 68.
Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 68.
Bring it up.
And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships.
Like y'all said, bondage. Like the Bible said, bondage, right? Slavery with ships. We just talked about that, right? With ships. How did we get here again? Boat, but the Bible says with ships. We learned that in school. We all learned that in school that our people went from the west coast of Africa. West coast of Africa right here, right? West coast of Africa, and we went by ships to the Americas. This is evident. We can't deny that. Y'all believe that, right? But the Bible said who this would happen to. The Israelites, right? So if that happened to the Israelites, what would that make y'all?
Bring it out.
An Israelite.
Bring it out.
So this name that's given to us, American blacks, guess where that came from? The so-called white man. Right here. How did this happen, Chris? Look. When they would rape and beat us, they would put another name on us. They would say, hey, we're going to call you American blacks, African American, because we conquered you. You understand? They didn't call us these names. Because that's what happens, like your last name. What's your last name, if you don't mind? Williams. Where does that last name come from? Huh? Your dad, right? But is that an African American name? No, it's most likely so-called white man's name. Because the slave master, what would they do with their slaves? Change their names. You see that? They'll change their last name. What's your last name? Huh? Stewart. That comes from a white man. We know that, right? That comes from a white man because more than likely your ancestors were under a plantation. The slave master, the so-called white man, hey, you ain't your original name no more. Yeah, the slave master's name was Stewart. He's like, since you're my property, I'm gonna make you a steward.
Bring it out.
No more being an Israelite. You're Stewart. And that name doesn't even have any power to it. You know why? It has no power to it because it comes from devils. I'm gonna tell you straight. The The Bible calls these so-called people devils. It just means deceiver. Okay? It just means they deceived us. Because what? Did you know that you were in Judah? Did you know that you were always Judah?
Well, yeah. Well, from my dad's side, yeah. But my mom's side,
I'm saying, did you ever know that you were from the tribe of Judah in your life? No, because you have been deceived.
right.
By who? The so-called white man. Let's be honest. Let's be truthful. We like to be real, right? We can't be fake.
That's right.
We've been deceived.
That's right.
But now we're getting the truth of this Bible. Let's go back.
Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 68. And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships, by the way whereof I spake unto thee.
So the same way Moses said this was going to prophesy to the Israelites, to you so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, it's going to exactly happen that way. You're going to go on slave ships to the Americas.
Right.
This is going to happen if you don't keep the commandments.
Right.
Did it not happen? It happened.
Right.
And this Bible's written how long? Almost over 3,000 years ago. And it's in the Bible. Didn't you say it wasn't? We just read it, right? Let God be true and every man a liar.
That's
you
right.
understand?
We used to scream black power while heroin was pushed. But at the end of the day, nothing's in vain. Iuic has been given a vision. The tents of Judah has risen. Many has attempted the mission. Minor murmuring, omitting, and missing the mark. Just reading that he had the flame of fire in his eyes gave us the spark. We on Paul's mission. We out on the road, purple and gold. From Mexico, Cuba, Haiti, Ghana, Sierra Leone. 144,000 boots banging, concrete crackling. These are our men repented at heart. The scriptures is proof. Iuic, we deliver the truth.